episode here on the Project 120 series brought to you by Midwest Tail Chasers. Before we jump into this episode, I just wanted to give a little background and history on the property leading up to this point. So back in early fall 2018, we were really searching hard to find a piece of hunting property for our family. And I came across this property on Craigslist. Fast forward to October, mid-October, the offer was accepted. My parents were able to purchase the very first hunting land for the family. So that first year we only got to really hunt during the rifle season. It was just a raw kind of blank slate of land. Leading up into the following season, we did have a hard winter that spring. Wild shed hunting, we did find at least 7 dead deer from the winter and wolf kills. So our herd kind of took a hit and we had to kind of restart from nothing. Going into it, we were really hoping just get food there and the deer will come. In theory that kind of works. You get pictures of them coming in, but they're not during daylight. And we kind of just kept expanding those food plots to get more food there to hold more deer. That kind of leads us all the way up until 2022. Another hard winter decimated the deer herd up there with the wolf population as well, taking a hit on the herd. 2023, you hardly saw any deer. Leading into that winter, we did have a nice easy winter for them. 2024, another nice winter, and here we are today. We've done a ton of work out there. We went from 0 food plots to having probably close to 7 to 8 acres worth now. And we're still not seeing the results that we wanted. So 2023 we had Sam from Purpose-Filled Habitat Management come out and just walk us through, kind of see what the next steps were to get to that next stage of holding deer and being able to see those bucks during daylight. Sam was great. I recommend anyone going to watch his YouTube videos. It's very informational, and it kind of helped us get to where we're at today. Which brings us to our hinge cut. These are we did two over the weekend where we went in. We had one main destination kind of bedding cut that we cut in, which ended up by the end of the weekend being just under 3/4 of an acre. Eventually I do want to get that to roughly 1.5 acres, 2 acres worth. And then also later in the video you'll see Kyle's hinge cut that is on the edge of a swamp and a spruce tree kind of edge. And that's just to pull some of the deer closer to that food plot, just to give more area for the bucks to bed and actually bed on our property. So that was kind of the whole plan for this weekend, and we spent a good solid 7 to 8 hours behind the chainsaws and just putting in sweat equity and hoping it pays off. We have a solid plan to catch these deer moving between the 2 bedding areas, and come this fall hopefully we catch up with one. We have a couple good bucks on camera. One of them is Norm. This is going to be, I believe, the 3rd year that we've had him on camera, so hopefully we can catch up with him, or another buck that I call Silo. So see where things go. Alright, just to kind of give a little bit of a layout of what we're doing, and the bedding cut that I was handling was, this is going to be the destination bedding in my mind, where we can hold more deer, have more tonnage of food for them to browse, and to just give them a little bit more cover. When you get out into those woods and we pick the spot, you could look all the way around you and see, 50, 60, 70 yards in front of you. So there's just not a lot of cover for them to be able to hide and get away into a secluded area on our property. So the main focus were to get as many trees down that we can, give them that little bit of seclusion and security from predators, and just to get away from other deer even. Another reason, we wanted to get food and browse down to the ground for the deer at their level. A lot of these hinge cuts we left probably about hip to chest high. That'll give enough regen off those stumps as well for deer to eat off of, and even to bed under. Hopefully it's a good area come this spring for fawns to be born there and to be safe from any predators that are in the area. Now that we let all the light down to the ground, I'm really hoping for big boom and regeneration, just to really get it thick in there. I can't stress it enough how important it is to try and get it as thick as we can for those deer. Not so thick that they can't move through it. Obviously we made one main trail down the center of it, and also just jump off trails off that main trail. So in the end, I think it turned out great. I'm really excited to see how they use this just for futures, so we can start adding on to it and also getting another 1 or 2 bedding cuts in that area.
Alright, well, I'm going to explain the thought process on the location and of the bedding area that I worked on, and the thought process and how I set it up. So we picked that spot because it was adjacent to the main food source on the property. It was about 60 to 80 yards off the food source, and that will allow doe groups to pull in closer and bed closer to food, which allows more room for the bucks to bed further off in the already established bedding areas where the does were bedding. Hopefully we'll pull them in closer to food now, and that'll allow the bucks to not be so pressured and bed on the neighbors, and allow them to bed on Logan's property. And the way I designed it the way I did was, it was kind of pinched between a big lowland swampy area, and then right up next to the food plot there was about 60 to 80 yards of like a strip of conifer trees. And then so it was long, skinny, kidney bean shaped. And the first thing I did was I took the great big trees that were too big to hinge cut, and I flush cut them, and I didn't try to do it, but they propped up real nicely, nice and high. And then I was able to hinge cut the smaller trees on top of it and create little pockets inside of there. And it was kind of nice. There was a handful of bigger conifer trees inside the bedding area, so I was able to kind of create a wall, a cover, and sanctuary within there so they could bed up underneath them conifer trees. Created lots of trails, exit trails, main corridor trails that cut through there, a bunch of exit, escape routes if predators were to come in. And overall, we're able to set it up so that the main trail, hopefully, will head into the food plot in a spot where they'll be able to hunt it.
Well, I hope you guys liked this video. Like and subscribe to keep following along for the Project 120 series. Throughout the year, have some updates on how the bedding cuts are working. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out on Instagram, Midwest Tail Chasers, or in the comment section. As always, keep chasing that tail.